I think it's starting.
Let's try this again. Okay, I see it. But you need to email everybody. Oh, Dawn calling me. Yeah, just tell her to go on Facebook Live. Very well.
Okay. Now it is live streaming on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I'm letting some people know. They're like, what's going on? And I got a bunch of messages. Like, whatever we want to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All right.
Good time.
If you're watching on Facebook Live, we had a little bit of a hack incident, not once, but twice on our first 2 attempts. So we think we've taken care of this. So we have abandoned the Zoom large group meeting, and now we're just doing Maggie and I on one private Zoom call, live streaming it to Facebook. So fingers crossed, this is good. I've got my finger on the end button over here. So Maggie, take it away.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to retell parts that people already heard, but I can summarize just basically how important the Philly running community was to me when I started. I did the Philly Marathon as my first race. And then from there, I met some super rad people. And that's really what it was about in the beginning, was just like meeting cool people, having fun, getting out there, running. I didn't care what the scenery was, what the trail was. My first ultra was the 20 and 24 in 2011, with it's the Back on My Feet 24-hour that they would hold as their fundraiser. It was in July around the Kelly Drive Loop. And that was basically a nutrition disaster. My goal was 100 miles. I made it 97. But I knew I could do better. So I signed up the next year, and so 2012, I ran 110 miles. And then, and then that time between this race, between 2011 and 2012, I decided to add some shorter races. So Dirty German 50 miler was my first 50-mile trail race, which was super awesome. And then so 2013, this race was canceled because of extreme heat. The heat index was like 110. So Philly canceled it. I think it was the city that made Back on My Feet cancel it. They just thought it was too dangerous to have it. So I went in search of another race. I found this fat ass, and for those who aren't familiar, the term fat ass means like, besides other things it means, but like it is a race you just show up to run. It doesn't cost anything. You kind of just usually bring stuff to contribute to the aid station. You just let the race director know you're going to sign up, and it's free. And so I found this 100-miler in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, on the northern central border of Pennsylvania, in a town called Lanesboro. And it was an out and back, 12.5-mile out and back. It's actually longer. And on a rail trail. So you would do that 4 times to make the 100-miler. And so that was my first trail 100, even though it was a pretty easy trail. It really took a toll on my legs, and I got super ambitious, trying to maybe run like an 18-hour 100-miler that I decided midway through that I was going to kind of keep the pace going. And that was a huge disaster. It was a huge blow up, but I was pretty determined to finish. So I death marched the last 25. I think the last 20, I did the first 50 in 8 hours, and I did the last 25 in 8 hours. Then there was a lot of in between. So I think it was like, I don't know, it was like 26 hours of this rail trail. And this is for Caroline again. I got Carolyn, like that I mentioned, Rodney helped me death march that last 8 hours, and he'll tell you all about it if anyone knows Rodney. He suffered a lot too. It was 8 hours of just walking in the rain at night. It was terrible, but it was really rewarding. But I remember thinking during that race that I could never run Western States or something like that. That just seemed too hard. I was like, I don't think I would ever be able to do that. So then kind of started signing up for ultras, like one of the serial signer upper of ultras. I had ones like every weekend. So 2014 was really like just the year I raced. Like, I mean, 2013, I raced probably like close to 30 marathons. And then 2014, I just started to get more into ultras. So I met my coach at Rocky Raccoon, which is my second trail 100 in 2014. That was actually my first sub 24-hour 100 miler outside of a 24-hour event. But yeah, she was super inspiring to me, and I had wanted a coach. I wanted to see if I could just get better. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing long, slow distance. That's all I was doing. That's all I thought you had to do for an ultra. But I was curious just to see like what a coach would tell me to do to get better. So I emailed her, and she's actually super affordable. So we started talking, and I told her my goals, and she didn't like think I was ridiculous for trying to sign up for that many ultras. She didn't tell me no. But I also kind of let her know about my goal to try to make the 24-hour team. I think we're at the point where we didn't get to last time. So far we're good. So anyway, after I got done with my spring frenzy of ultra racing, I decided to like kind of buckle down over the summer and just focus on one race. So I picked a 24-hour race called the New Jersey One Day. It's run on a 1 mile loop at the fairgrounds. They hold a lot of other races. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar. They have, what's the big one? 3 days at the fair. Yeah, it's just a cool little venue, and the community is awesome. And so my goal was just to run enough miles to qualify for the team. I didn't necessarily think I was going to make the team. But as training went on, I kind of started to really believe that I could make this team, that I could run something really like far. Even though none of my past performances proved that I could do that. So I just kind of was like, I think I can do it. And I forget so I had like a secret goal in my head, but I didn't tell anyone. And then I had this low end goal that was like, that would get me on the team. And I remember like just during that race, my friend Sky was also running, and she ended up making the team that year. She passed me 6 times. So that's 6 miles she had on me. And I remember thinking in my head, that I'm going to pass her 6 times back once I get even with her. But that would get me to my secret goal that I told like only a few people. One of my buddies, I told him that I thought I could run 142, but I'm not going to tell anyone that. And I ended up doing it, and I did it pretty even splits too, which is like, some say, I don't know, 24-hour runners can kind of argue on like the best way to run a 24-hour. Some like to get the most in the 12 hours and then you slow down or negative split. I did it pretty evenly. So I was really proud of how I ran that race, but I thought I could do better. And it did get me on the team. So that was 2014. So 2015, I got to go to Italy, and like I got to be on a team with Connie Gardner, who was like this legend. I mean, if you start reading about ultra running, when you kind of like become this sponge and you want to absorb all this ultra running knowledge. She's like a person you would read about, because I mean, she's like winning all kinds of things back in the day. I mean, she still races. She's in her 50s now, and she's still just like steady, consistent. So, you know, and then there was like 5 other women I was on this team with that I just like couldn't believe that I was on this team too. And like almost felt like, I don't know if I belong, like, but you know, I'll do my best. So I trained my butt off. And the running community was awesome. I was like, part of me almost, I didn't go because I couldn't afford it. They don't really give you any support to go. It might've changed a little bit now. The money they do give you is like a few $100, and they give it to you after you get back, because if they give it to you before, it'd be considered a salary, and it's like taxing, blah, blah, blah. It's like a whole thing. So the running community helped me raise like money to go to this thing, you know, go to Italy and compete for the US, like with other countries, like, so that was a huge motivation to just never, ever give up during this race. Like I had a horrible, pretty rough race that first 12 hours. I was projectile vomiting. I felt awful. And we were basically, this is how it's scored. So there's 6 people. There's 6 men and women usually from each country. They take the top scores of the top 3 men and women from each country. So, you know, some countries only bring 3, some bring 4. We had the luxury of bringing 6. Partway through, my good friend Otto Lamb, who probably a lot of you know, and Dylan Armajani, he was another crew guy. They said, you're the only one left besides like Katie, who was crushing it. She was first place the whole time. And Tracy Falbo, who was running in about 3rd. She ended up 2nd, but she was like right up there in the top. And I was doing terrible. But they needed my number to score. So they're like, you can't stop. Like I never planned to stop, but now I needed a big number. And so literally like that happened, and I went around again, and Otto's like super serious, like, you have to run for America. So that was like super important to Otto, but like really motivating to me, because like all these people believed in me to spend like $20 so I could go to this race. So I ran my ass off. Like I think that would be really hard to duplicate without all that, like those different factors. Without Dylan and Otto there, without the medical team, without just running for like a higher purpose than just, I thought this would be fun. So we ended up getting gold, and I got 4th place in the world, which is, I feel like it's braggy, but like, I think the point of this whole story is like, I was just like this regular runner, and I'm still a regular runner, but like, I mean, anyone, I think 24-hour racing too, like, I think that, you know, you're born so fast or whatever, you can make yourself faster. So don't ever set like a ceiling, but there's also like this certain bit of grit that can take you a little farther. If you just don't put a ceiling on yourself. Like I've done that in a lot of races, and I've been like, well, this person performed at this level, so I think I'd probably come in right about here. And that's like a terrible thing to do. So that's like my point. So it was really awesome. It was a really cool experience. And I don't know if I'm done with the 24-hour thing, but it's so hard on your body. And it's really fun. It's great to be on a team. So then after that, I kind of got into trail racing. So then I was like, that kind of lit a fire to be like, maybe I can do other things that I've read about, like this person getting top 10 at Western States and stuff. So I kind of made that a goal, and I went to go for a golden ticket, and I somehow got 2nd and got a golden ticket. And I went to Western States in, I forget what year, one of those years, 2016 maybe. And I got top 10, and it was an amazing experience. And, you know, and then I definitely thought about how I was running viaduct, just death marching, thinking I could never run Western States. And like, yeah, it's a hard race, but I felt like I trained for it. I was ready for it. It's always hard, but like, it wasn't too hard where I was like, what am I doing? Like I felt like I belonged there. And so it was awesome. And then, you know, from there, I just kind of got into, like the harder races. So I was just kind of like, in Pennsylvania, could I do like Run Rabbit Run going to elevation? And the answer is barely. But so, I mean, that was a terrible death march as well. But I finished just under the cutoff in under 30 hours, and I managed that. So not everything's like a success, but I felt like it was important to finish that race. And then I'm trying to think of the turning point where I really like thought, okay, I'm going to start applying to Barkley, but I ran the BFC, the Barkley Fall Classic in like, I think 2015 or 2016. And I was like, nope, this is nuts. I will never run the real one. I'm like, I'm glad I got to try it. And then like, I don't know, that race just haunted me. And like something about that area, I was like, I have to try it. Like, so I finally applied like 2 years later, and I got in somehow in my first try. I think he was feeling really generous towards women that year. And so that was like 2018. And so, but I made this like agreement with myself that when I would start applying to Barkley, that I would put in it's a project. So I don't expect to go crush it my first year. It was terrible. I mean, I made it 2 loops, but it was over time. But I learned a lot. And then last year was even worse because like I made it 1 loop, but almost didn't make it. And my body had just quit, but I learned a lot again. And so, and this year was obviously, it was canceled, but I feel like I can do better. I don't know if I can finish, to be honest. Like when I went into it, I was like, I will finish. I'm just going to keep trying. That race is so freaking hard. It's like the one goal where I'm like, I freaking don't know if I can finish this race. I think I'll have a better idea if I can complete a fun run. That'll give me a better idea, maybe some confidence. Maybe that will be the very fine edge that I feel like I can do there. And then I can say I tried, but I know I think I can do 3 loops at least. I want to get to that 4th loop. I know a woman can finish, so I'm going to try. I'm going to encourage other women to try, and it can be done. It is getting really hard. It's getting to the cusp where like people like Gary Robbins has seconds to finish and then, screws it up on the last, we all know that story mostly. So that is like, that could be a 30-minute talk itself. So I'll just move on. Part of how I got into Big's backyard was I wanted a sleep deprivation experience for Barkley because you have to make these decisions during Barkley, and Big's is a more controlled environment. It's more of this mind game. It's less about the physical and the terrain. I mean, it's a whole different game. So I didn't think I would love it as much as it was. I just thought it would be cool. I wanted to go and see what it was like. And so the first year I was hoping to get to 200 miles and I didn't. So I got to 44 hours, which is like 183. And that was super disappointing. Even though it was way harder than I ever could have imagined. So it was the same, I applied that same kind of mentality to the first time when I ran the 2024 and got 97 miles. I was like, I can do better and I'm going to do it. And it just takes kind of like what I did all in the past is the same that I applied it to this. Was I kind of just in training stewed with my goal, like I won't quit. And then you just kind of visualize it until you believe it. And then you just have to go and execute, hopefully things go right. Things can still go wrong. I just got lucky with a really good race and my crew was really awesome. And so, I mean, that's kind of my full running journey in a nutshell. Like, I don't know. People say they can't win bigs, but they can if they really want to. Like, that's the beauty of bigs. It's even more about grit than like a 24-hour. So, I mean, a lot of people don't want to run that long, which I get too. I don't always want to do that. But yeah, that's basically it. I had my first injury ever in quarantine. I saw Jess Grinspan was on there. She killed it at the quarantine backyard. I made it 9 hours and called it quits. And I've had this back/SI joint injury and it kind of sucks. But I think I made it like 10 years without my first injury. So I think it's a pretty good run.
That's awesome, Maggie. Thank you so much for bearing with us.
Yeah. I tried to do a more condensed, like roll through it type.
That was awesome. That was super awesome. All right. So we'll just go with the flow with this. So we'll tell people in the Facebook Live if they want to ask questions. I'll take a peek and see if there's any comments. But we can start with our 10 rapid fire questions if you're ready for them.
Okay.
All right. So you want to answer these like the first thing that comes to your mind. All right. I'm sure you've done this before. Okay. First one. This is an easy one. Do you believe in Sasquatch? And what is your spirit animal?
Yes. And it was a bison, but now it's a moose.
Now, why did that change?
Because I keep seeing moose everywhere and they're really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, we like to ask all those goofy questions in our registration. So you probably remember that from the Squatchung Surprise. We asked what your spirit animal was.
I remember that. And I don't remember what I put. Something dumb.
Oh, I'm sure it was great. Okay, next question. Would you rather run through spider webs or have one annoying gnat hover around your face for the entire run?
Probably spider webs.
Spider webs, even if it had an actual spider in it and it got on your
I
head.
don't mind spiders.
Oh my gosh.
Although I guess I could tune out the gnat. I don't know. I feel like I've run races where gnats have been there too the whole time.
They just follow you the whole time, right?
Yeah, I would take either. I thought one of those is going to be way worse.
All right, number 3. This is a really important question. Is vert real?
No.
Good answer. And I notice you're sitting on a chair.
Yeah.
Ultra running.
Chair.
Long live ultra running memes. Okay, next question. Who is the fastest? You, Ryan, or Titus?
Me.
Wow, no hesitation.
Actually, right now Titus is.
Is he?
Yeah. I'm really slow right now. He ran 3 miles this morning. He was ahead of me the whole time.
Oh man, Rockstar.
Yeah.
Oh, I see him in the back there.
Here he comes.
All right, next one. What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
I like that original. I don't know the names of the little like semicolon name. Is the Return of the Jedi the one where like, I don't know, the very first Star Wars, which is really the 4th Star Wars.
Yeah. A New Hope. Nailed it.
I think.
Yeah, nailed it.
Okay.
All right. Do you use mantras when you race?
Yeah, I do.
You want to share with?
So it was, if I can't finish this, I can't finish Barkley. And then sometimes I make them up on the fly, but that's always the one I go to.
Okay. Awesome. Is there any more? Is that's your go-to?
I found out during bigs that I would yell like single cues to myself, which I guess became a mantra, like focus. And then sometimes I'd curse at myself.
Did that work? Was it motivating?
Yeah, no, I mean, it just kept me aware and like alert. Yeah. But you have to say it out loud at that point after 2 days.
Right.
Otherwise it doesn't mean anything.
All right, next question, number 7. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, when you're talking to people and they start looking at their phone.
Oh yeah, that's so annoying. I can't stand that. Right. I won't do it to you.
I probably do that to people too. I do it to Ryan all the time. He doesn't count.
All right, next one, very important one. What is your favorite East Coast food?
Oh, East Coast food. Man, there's really good pizza there, to be honest. There isn't great pizza here.
Yeah.
I know it's like not East Coast specific, but we have really good pizza there.
Totally. Yeah, there's a big difference. I used to live in Ohio and the pizza was gross. They like cut it in squares.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It's hit or miss here and mostly miss.
Yeah. All right, this is a fun one. If you had to pick a new career unrelated to running, what would it be?
Well, technically running's not my career. I am, but I don't know. To be honest, I think it would be cool to be a kind of like, I don't know, anything to do with space, like a career at NASA or space something. I don't know. Anything like, I always thought, I feel like space is a good escape because you can just focus on these mind-blowing problems. I've always been like super interested in that. I don't think I'm smart enough to get a job doing any of those things, but I can pretend.
Space Force, they just opened up.
Yeah. So let me in.
All right, last question, maybe the most fun one. Hypothetically speaking, you and Courtney Dauwalter just became superheroes. What are your superhero powers and what are your superhero names for you and Courtney?
I'm a super slow woman and she's super fast lady. And her superpower is she can poop jelly beans. And mine is I can shoot tailwind out of my fingers.
Different flavors?
Yes. Yeah, but we have 8 flavors. So maybe some rebuild out of my thumbs or something.
Nice little plug for Tailwind there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull a couple of questions from the Facebook chat. We'll see what we got here. Looks like there's a few. Okay. This is from Joe Brandine. He said, not running related. I want to know where you got the curtain behind you.
Oh my God. Ryan got it. It's a shower curtain used as a closet door. And I think it's from that Calamity Ware brand. They make dishes that look like that and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were
They
thinking of
look like
getting dishes that look like that too.
Is a Loch Ness Monster on there or something?
Yeah, they're like sea monsters.
That's
Oh my God, he's going to be really excited that someone asked about the curtain. He always asks in the Zoom meetings. He's like, has anyone mentioned the curtain? Like,
there
no,
you go. No. You tell him Joe Brandine wanted to know.
I will.
Okay. Next question from Bailey Lewis in Milburn, New Jersey. Are you vegan? ? What is your general diet?
So I've dabbled, but when I moved here, I kind of started eating meat again, and then traveling a lot. So I eat meat sometimes. I lean more plant-based, but I do eat cheese. Again, I used to not eat cheese. I just try to like stick to as many nutritious foods as I can without being perfect. I mean, I don't stress it as much anymore. I used to try to be like, I can't eat this, I can eat this. And it's just like mind blowing. Although there is something to be said for the discipline to just kind of try one diet and see how it makes you feel. I had mixed feelings on the vegan thing. For me, maybe I wasn't doing it right. A lot of iron issues and stuff. So I will probably revisit it. I don't know, but I just kind of follow a moderate everything kind of diet, minus all the coffee and seltzer I drink.
Awesome. All right, next one we got is from Jessica. What do you think was the biggest game changer in your training? If you could pinpoint one thing.
Well, it was getting Michelle and having her guidance. I would say probably I was doing strength work before her, but like she gives you these little fine tuning kind of like important running exercises. Whereas like, you know, I was doing like barbell workouts and CrossFit type stuff. And speed work. I wasn't doing speed work at all. So it is actually important for ultra running. And I think my legs would feel so trashed after 1 hour speed work rather than like a 3 or 4 hour like slow run. So I think it's important.
Awesome. Okay, this is from Caroline Redman. While you were waiting for Will at Biggs, were you thinking you had another loop left in you?
Oh, yeah. I was ready. I was mentally prepared to go through the night. I was excited. I already had my game plan for the caffeine. I was going to be more liberal with just taking it in because I figured there wouldn't be a fourth night. And it would just be stay alert on that trail because I knew how much focus it was going to take for that fourth day. But again, like I have no idea because like anything could happen. I mean, Dave Proctor went downhill in 2 laps. So like maybe I totally lost my mind. I was worried because Will had the experience. He was starting to look good and he had the experience of running through 3 nights and I didn't. So I was like in it. I was not thinking like that Will was like, you know, dying or fading or anything.
Awesome. Okay, a couple more. We've got from Dana Chin. I know you had the injury for quarantine backyard ultra, but how much difficulty did the virtual aspect add to the race? Would you do more virtual ultra type events in the future?
Yeah, I could see that the motivation would have been kind of hard after a while. Especially when you get in, I knew that my loop was kind of a lot of elevation gain. So I knew I was going to only get to say hi to people for like 30 seconds or a minute at a point. And yeah, you're out there alone at night. My goal was really when I went there to just do like 100 miles and see how I felt and probably leave there. Like Sally and Courtney and I made that kind of like, we'll do 100 and see what happens. So yeah, I think it would be hard, like what Greg Armstrong did and Mike Wardian. Mike's a freak. And anyone that hung in there, just keep on chugging. Like that's gritty too.
Yeah.
It's hard because you feel like it's not real. Like, is vert real? No. Is this race real? No. It's like,
Oh no, the cone was
hard.
real. That cone.
I would do another virtual race if I'm not back to running, and I'm not gonna try and like commit to anything, like, but they're fun. They're a cool way to like kind of stay sharp.
Totally. Yeah, I did the quarantine backyard ultra too. I was so invested, watching it to the very end. It was a really cool experience. Just knowing like so many people around the world were, watching it and participating. It was really cool.
Well, it's cool because I was getting texts from Jennifer, Mike's wife. I was like, tell him to sleep. She's like, he's so addicted to his phone. He's been on his phone the whole time. Every time he's done, he gets on his phone. I'm like, he didn't sleep a wink that whole time.
I know.
And then when
right?
he was done, he didn't sleep that night.
He just
like went to work, did whatever that he does. Like, he doesn't sleep. So if he goes to like the real backyard this year, like, he's a threat. Like, I mean, what's gonna stop him? He doesn't need sleep, and he like runs like 1 billion miles a week. Like,
right.
Literally, I've been telling him for years he's built for this. I was like, I take credit for this.
That's all you.
Told him, you're like it's perfect for him.
Totally. Okay, I think we got maybe one or two more. Let me see. I don't want to miss anybody here. Jason Friedman, first place you'd like to travel to. I'm assuming that means after, travel restrictions are up.
Okay, so I sent my passport in right before this whole COVID thing, and the headquarters is in Philadelphia. I have the tracking that says they received it on February 29th, but I have no idea if I'm gonna get my passport back. Shoot. So I think soon. I mean, and now Philly is like on fire. Like, it's sad.
Yeah.
So I think once things calm down, like, I'm gonna maybe try to contact them or email them or see how I can track what's going on there. But so that being said, was I sent it in to get renewed because I would like to go to New Zealand and do Tarawera in February. Wow. And who knows? So I have no idea, but I've always wanted to go to New Zealand and Iceland, but the plan is New Zealand is hopefully next. So
awesome. Little update, Joe Brandine found the link to the shower curtain and he posted it in the chat.
It's a nice material.
Yeah. This is from Nicole Werner. Are there any East Coast races that you would like to do someday? ... Eastern states ?
Yeah, I would like to do Eastern states. I'm afraid that I'm going to go back and be like a wuss with humidity. I miss humidity. People think I'm nuts, but I love it. I love to feel like I came in and I'm drenched in sweat. I feel like I did something. I feel so like cleansed. And here, like, I could wear the same clothes all day because I feel like I don't sweat. And so I would love to do it soon, just to come back and do that race. That race scares me. Like, there's not too many really West Coast races that scare me that much besides like Barkley and that race. Partly because you have to go through like that rattlesnake area past like what's that hotel manor, whatever, in Slate Run, like that whole climb that up there. There's like, they study rattlesnakes there because it's just like known for them. That's scary.
All right, so that is on the list. Elaine Yee wants to know, you might have answered this already with New Zealand, but where or what is your dream race to go to? Would it be the New Zealand like you just said, or is there something else on the list?
Well, New Zealand's like a dream like destination, but I think the race would be, UTMB never really appealed to me that much, but more and more now I guess maybe I miss racing and people. I think UTMB would be really cool, but I've always wanted to do like a race in Switzerland, those like Eiger Ultra or something. Then there's another race, I can't remember the name right now. It's like a 50K that looks beautiful that my friend was trying to talk me into going to. It's in September. So anything there I think would be super cool. Those mountains look, I mean, you get to run through a bunch of countries in UTMB. So anywhere in the mountains there. It's just, they rise so far from like the floor. It just,
Yeah.
it's different than here, I guess.
Totally.
But Hard Rock is also like on my list, but I'm lucky I get to live an hour from where it is. We're planning on doing like Soft Rock this year since it's canceled. So I'll get to see the whole course, which I'm grateful for. So I never get to do the race. I never get in the lottery. Like at least I got to see it. I live right here. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
This is from Kurt Bashford. Advice for transitioning from weekend casual trail runner to longer runs.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just be more consistent. So, I mean, I don't know how many days a week you're running, but it's about consistency. So you don't want to just kind of like do all your miles on the weekend. I know he means like the term weekend warrior, but like maybe like add in an extra day of running and just add like make it a shorter run. But like kind of keep an eye on your mileage and time that you've been running and just keep upping that little at a time. There's a lot of training plans on there that you can kind of tweak to make your own, but just be mindful you don't overdo it.
Definitely. All right, we're going to hit you with 2 last questions and we'll wrap it up. This is from Rick. So this is going to test what kind of TV shows you like. Question: what kind of bear is best?
Black Bear.
Or Battlestar Galactica, I don't know.
Or Beats.
Or Beats. That was awesome. All right, last question for you. This is coming at you from Jana. Her question is a fun one. If you could run with one person who you haven't ever run with yet, living or deceased, who would that person be?
I feel like I thought about this recently, but it changes all the time. Living or dead. I mean, honestly, it'd be kind of, so this is the thing. I think it would be really cool to kind of like run with like one of the women that lived in these mountains when they were like mines back in the day when it was like super tough. The thing is, I don't think they ran for fun because life was hard enough. But it would be super cool to just get their perspective on these mountains and like what life was like.
Right.
From back then. And then now, I just think she would be like, what's wrong with you? But I always think about that when I'm running. Like these mines are everywhere. These roads are through these mountains. And people used to live here and like they didn't have heat.
Right.
They didn't have running water. I mean, they just lived on the
Running
side of the
shoes.
mountain. Yeah, I know. I would always like to pick their brain.
Or tailwind. They didn't have anything coming out of their thumbs or fingers.
I know. They just chewed on rocks for nutrition or something. I think they were drunk all the time. I think you had to be.
Get through it. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad we made it through that. That was quite the journey.
Yeah, that was pretty G-rated.
To say the least. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Maggie, for bearing with us, kicking it off with a bang, the premiere of the RunVenture Zoom Series. Thank you for you guys all watching. I think we had a bunch of people hopping on the Facebook Live video. And so we will be in touch and we'll catch you at the next event. All right. See you guys. Bye.